Riding my bike. We are here. Welcome. Welcome. It is Thursday, people. Let me get the stream started. Woo! Oh my God, it is such a bright day today here in the UK. The sun has been shining. I've been working at home. Now my work is finished. And it's time to start Zwifting indoors. Let me just turn this front fan off. Okay, Google, turn off big fan. So we are here. We're running late. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Zwift as I ride. Today on the Zwift Big Spin. I'm Ken, this is the Black Cyclist I. I cycle for fun, encouraging lots of chats as I ride, talking about Zwift cycling, anything fitness. As I'm cycling today on the Zwift Big Spin, we're going for the spin wheel. We're trying to get the BMX, the coveted neon coloured BMX, pastel coloured BMX. Whew. So it's just a chill ride. Zone 2. We are doing the Douce in France. So it's around about 24 kilometres and about 135 metres of elevation, so a relatively flat route. If you was here on Monday, you saw me ride this on Monday. Whew, breathless. I'm back to ride it again, but I'm going to actually show you a few examples of different turbo trainers that you can use or buy if you want to get started on Zwift. Starting at very budget, going up to the same one that I've got. So I've called them like low, mid and high. So we talk about that once we get started. I'm gonna need to jump into the pen actually and get going. Also, I'll be taking questions from the chat. I'll be talking about the Zwift Powerups, how to use them, demonstrating some drafting skills, and sort of like best tips of how to ride the most efficient when you're riding Zwift. But the most important thing is, get out there, turn the pedals, enjoy it, and just enjoy the ride. So, here we go. Oh, I love Thursdays. I always start off feeling like full of energy. So let's get started. It starts in 2 minutes. 24.2 kilometers. So hopefully the sound is a lot better today than it was on Monday. I've been tweaking with the sound a little bit. For some reason, this to adjust this camera a bit. So for some reason, this new setup seems to be picking up all the background sounds, even though I've got a condenser mic. But hopefully the sound's good. I've done a couple of test streams earlier. So, should we get going with today's ride? So if you're new to Zwift, this is some useful tips and information on what happens when you start a Zwift ride. So, we are all in the pen, waiting to start the Douce France. Currently there are 428 people in the pen, more joining as the race clock ticks down. Now you'll find I'm at the front of the queue, even though I've only literally just joined. So I did actually join the race. You can join any race or group event 30 minutes before the ride starts. And I did that just to get a good position. Now if you're looking to race, it's very sort of like strategic to get in there as close to the start the pen time as possible, so you can start at the front of the pack and not have to work your way through when you get started. I'm not racing, I'm just chilling. I just wanted to get all set up nice and early before the ride starts. Here I am. So yeah, so you join the pen, you can stay in there and start pedaling, or you can exit out, do some more riding, get your water bottle sorted, get a towel. Little tips, and then as you're in here, you can give a few ride-ons. So you open up the Zwift companion app, and you can just press the little circle, that is where the map is. And I'll give a ride-on to the 5 or 6 Zwifters who are in your vicinity. But right now, the clock is ticking down. You know what it goes. Let's go! Ah. Yes, I reckon there won't be as many in today's ride as there was on Monday, because it's been going for 4 days now. But I reckon we might get up to 700, maybe 800 riders all riding. Wish me luck. We are trying to get the BMX on the spin wheel and just going round. So welcome to anyone who's joining for the first time. If you like what you see, there's a button to show that. It's called the subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything, but it really does help get this video out to more people, so thank you. And if you want to say hi, my right eye is tuned to my monitor, so I can see the chats, answer any questions, or just give a shout out. Maybe you've achieved something worth shouting about, got yourself a new FTP, hit a new comp, got a new bike, just started Zwifting for the first time, or you're doing what I was doing like just over 4 years ago, tuning in, watching these people ride their bikes indoors, trying to figure it out. You can also get on board, and if that's what you're looking for, I've selected 3 turbo trainers, and I'll be able to show you exactly what you need to get started in Zwift. But for now, we're riding through France. This is a virtual replica of a route in France, computer generated. The gradients, the uphills and the downhills, like now you can see they've got a graph up front, so it's showing the elevation of the route ahead. So it's currently 2%, so my turbo trainer will adjust the difficulty so it actually feels like the 2% gradient. And you can see what gradient you've got left from the colourful map. Blue is obviously easy and anything that slopes down. And when the colours go up, yellow, green, orange, red. And it's just like when you put your hands in a bag of jelly babies, you go for the darker ones. The darker ones mean more effort. So the redder the colour, the steeper the incline. So I've done this route many times. This is a decent route to race with. We're doing this in reverse. There's the BMX in front. Oh, the coveted BMX. I want it so bad. I want it. Well, I'm getting hot. I need to turn on my fan. Okay, Google, turn on big fan. Ooh, it's 27 degrees in there already. Right, slowly, finally getting a little bit easier. We're going downhill. I could feel the change in the pedals because this turbo trainer, it adjusts the resistance as the gradient changes. So we've got a bit lighter for a bit. We're going downhill. Nearly 600 people riding. And if you want to get an idea as to where these riders come from, if you look just over on the right hand side of the screen where I'm facing forwards, just here, there's me. You'll see all the other riders in the order that they appear on the screen. A little flag symbol tells you the country they're from, and you can also see the power they're putting out. So I'm 2.2 watts per kilogram, person in front's doing 2.7, and you can also see how many seconds each rider is behind or in front of you. Perfect for when you're looking to bridge the gap or just work out how much of a lead you've got. Oh, getting a bit steeper, 4%. I'm going to wait until I've got some of the climbs, and then I'll talk a little bit about what you need to get started in Zwift. What you also should do is get yourself a decent playlist. I've got music playing in my ear, on my headphones. Ooh. Let me talk about Zwift. Right. Oh, I'd stopped the Garmin by mistake. Okay, let's see if we can do this. I had it set up to do it in the studio, but let's have a look. Let's jump over rather than bring it up on the screen. Here we go. Okay, oh, you can still see my Zwift screen. I've still got it up. Yeah, it's me in my living room. Zwifting on the TV screen. Okay, so if you want to get started on Zwift, there's a few essentials that you need in order to get going. The first one's obvious. It's a bike. Now, you're not restricted to having to get the Zwift bike or the Wahoo bike. You can use any bike that you've got. I've opted for a dedicated road bike that pretty much just stays in this room, set up on the turbo trainer, so it's always ready to go. But I do have the luxury of having a number of different bikes to choose from. If you've only got one bike, it's pretty straightforward. Attaching your bike to a turbo trainer, it will pretty much use whatever release system your bike has. So if you've got the skewer quick release, that will just slot in. If you've got like the bolts, usually each turbo trainer comes with a set of adapters, so you can change the fitting. But if you've got a more modern bike with a through axle, you just need to switch the adapters around, and it's as easy as changing the wheel. And I know changing the wheel isn't always easy, but I've done a video on it. There's other videos you can watch on YouTube. So you need a bike, and then you need a turbo trainer. So I'm going to show you a few examples. Boom. Okay, so I've got example one. Now this is a basic turbo trainer. It's called a wheel on. You can get these for anything from about £50 upwards, really, to about £200. Now it's not smart, so it won't adjust the resistance as you're riding. But if you want a tight budget and you just want to be able to attach your bike and get going, then a wheel on turbo trainer, where the back wheel fits onto like a roller pad, and then pressure is applied, so the resistance is caused by the contact of the roller against the pad and the back wheel. Now you will need a couple of extras, so you need to factor that into the price, like a speed and cadence sensor. That's tiny little thing. Costs you anything between £10 and £20. So that's so it can calculate the rotations of the wheel and your speed. And you'll also need something that's going to measure the power. But that's your basic to get you started. And then next is this one here. Actually, I want to get the list up. I had a list, like a tier list. There you go. So the first one was the Van Roy. I've just picked any bike that's available in my local store, which just happens to be Decathlon. I'm not affiliated. There were no links. There's nothing sponsored. Just to give you an idea of the types of turbo trainers that are out there and what you need to spend as a minimum and a mid-range upwards to get started. So the first one I showed you was the Van Rysel In-Ride 100. You can see I've got details there, and that's only £100. The one that's up now, another one from Van Rysel, it's called the Home Trainer D100. It gives you a maximum power of between 500 and 750 watts, so more sprints a bit powerful than that. So doesn't mean that you can't sprint that power, it's just not going to register it as over that power. So if you want to do racing, it's probably not the sort of turbo trainer you want to use. You're going to want to go up to the next level, and you want to get something along the lines of what I've got. So this is the Doretto X. It's by Elite. This one is currently £100 off, and it's £600. I've had a lot more when I got this, but that was at the peak. All the stock was low. Everyone was looking to get onto turbo trainers, but I think it's still reasonably priced. I've had mine for 4 years. I've never had to do any servicing, any maintenance. It just works, and on a good week, I'm on it like 5 days a week, so anything say between 3 and 7 hours. So really solid machine. And this particular model will give you a power reading of up to 2100 watts. Now I can't even get anywhere near that. I haven't even reached 1500, so more than enough accuracy there. The actual accuracy is actually accurate in terms of the speed and the power of about 0.5% plus or minus. It has Bluetooth and Ant Plus connections. Talking of which, I'm currently connected with Bluetooth on this setup now. So if you've got Windows 11, I think there's an existing problem where the Ant Plus drivers aren't quite sorted for it. If you're lucky, it will work. If you're unlucky, it doesn't work. So I can't currently connect to Ant Plus, which I prefer because it's just a more stable connection. So I personally try to opt for connections that have dual, so either Bluetooth or Ant Plus, because that way, if one of them goes down, I can use the other, and I've had to do exactly that today. So Ant Plus isn't working. I've had to connect using Bluetooth. It took me a good 10-15 minutes trying to get it sorted, but the Bluetooth did actually work in the end. So that's all good. So you've got a choice there. Budget £100, but bear in mind you're probably going to have to spend about another £50 or more on additions in order to make it compatible to ride with Zwift. Next up is the one to show them, shouldn't I really? So the budget one, £100, but you'll need to spend about an extra £50 or more in order to make it rideable with Zwift. Then you've got mid-range. This is a wheel-on turbo, no, sorry, a direct drive turbo trainer, and it comes with the Zwift hub. And this is currently £280. So it's probably the cheapest that you'll get on, but obviously the power isn't going to register that high. So if you're a relatively low-level rider, new to cycling, it'll be perfectly fine. But you'll probably find that you might want to upgrade to a bigger machine as your riding improves, or you start wanting to do more races or long distance events. Then you've got this other option, which is the sort of like upper tier, £600. You can spend a lot more, although I guess it's personal choice. They all connect to the Zwift app, and it's about the effort you put out. So it's your legs, you riding, that determines how much power comes out. Right, so that is your basic introduction to getting started with a turbo trainer and what you need to get started. I'm going to go back to the normal screen. Just by magic, we are back. So now that we are here on the Zwift screen and I've fallen off the back of the pack, it's probably the perfect time for me to demonstrate how to get back onto the pack into the drafting position. So you can see the pack ahead. I'm going to look at the map, the number of riders just ahead of me. I can see they've got a 3-second lead, and they're going at about 2 watts per kilogram. So as long as I can pedal harder, I'm currently 4 watts per kilogram, I will catch them up. I'm just going to pick up the pace, but I need to make sure that as I get nearer, I ease off the power so I don't shoot past them completely. So the seconds are ticking down, 1 second. I'm drawing nearer. As I get closer, I will have the little Zwift indicator pop up, telling me how close I am to the draft. So I'm easing off, easing off, easing off, and there you go. Adjust your pedaling, settle in, and now I can use this time to recover. So what I'm going to do, because I've just burnt some energy, I'm going to fire off this draft Powerup just by using the companion app, and that's going to increase the current draft benefit that I'm getting by an additional 10% for 30 seconds. You can see the timer just ticking down above. Take some nice deep breaths, get back into a rhythm, yeah, and just enjoy the ride. I'm still drafting, so I'm not pedaling any harder than what I need to. I'm being sheltered from some of that draft, that wind in front. Here you go, easy drafting tips 101. Now what you also do, this is kind of like etiquette, when you're riding in a group, you will share the person who is taking all that headwind in front. So this one, you Worm, what an amazing name. He's currently taking what we call a pull. I'm probably a little bit close, but the worm is still in front. Okay, so he's eased up a bit. I'm going to take a bit of a pull. I'm just going to increase my rotation, my power a little bit, then ease off slightly, so I can just be in front. Although it looks like this woman, she's either going ahead, or she's decided that she wants to take a pull. Either way, this is nice and chill. And what you will find when you are riding in Zwift, sometimes it's about a race. Other times people are just riding at their own pace, whether they're doing their own personal workout, just riding for fun, or riding at a zone which is comfortable to them. So you'll find you'll get a group who are matched at the right pace. We seem to be going at about between 1.7 and 2 watts per kilogram. And we just sit in, just ride nice and consistently all the way to the end. So there's 15 kilometers left to go. So we talk a little bit about the screen once again. So you've got all your metrics at the top of the screen from the top left. You can see the current power I'm putting out: 124, 180, 153 watts. That's the power coming through my pedals. Actually, it's been measured by the turbo trainer because my pedals are actually flat. I forgot to charge them. Below that, you've got the RPM. Again, this turbo trainer has a built-in cadence sensor, so it's registering the cadence. I personally tend to use my pedals or a separate cadence sensor. I find the one in this the Aero sometimes runs a little fast and slow, which isn't really a problem when you're cycling manually. But if you're in erg mode, it can really sort of like zap the legs as it starts adjusting up and down. Anyway, my heart rate is next to that, 140 BPM. Heart rate monitor, optional. And then you can also see my current watts per kilogram, 1.7 watts per kilogram. And the one with the 11 and SP, that's just showing the effort of the ride for today. So at the end, I'll have a stress point score, which will probably be around about 40, maybe 35. Anyway, middle of the screen, speed, distance, elevation climbed, time elapsed. You can see all of my drops. I'm on 10.5 million, which means I could buy one of those new bikes if I wanted to. Custom bike. I'm not interested, but thanks to GP Llama for telling us all about it today. I'm just going to change the view back to normal view. I'm going to take a bit of a pull. Thank you, Worm. I'll pull for a bit. How are you all doing? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope you are enjoying my stream. Mondays and Thursdays live at 5 with the BBC. Cycling for fun. Sweating my ear. Trying to do everything I can to like reduce the amount of sweat dripping. So I've gone for the headband today. Well, we've got a climb coming up. Oh, 4%. Feels heavier. I prefer using my pedals for the power and cadence. Woo! Oh, it's roasting. 27.5 degrees in the wattage cottage. I enjoy this route. It's nice. There's a lot going on, lots of ups and downs as you cycle. Keep the mind active, works the body and the legs a little bit harder than if you was just doing a flat route. And just a handful of medium climbs. The orange is the steepest bit of this climb, so currently 4.4%. It will level off a bit as we go yellow. There's a bit of a breather at blue. Then another climb again. Someone there is doing it with the wide handlebars in front. Then on a BMX. I mean, is it the BMX? 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 Yes, it's the BMX that I want. Oh. So we're climbing the aqueduct. So there's a tiny little climb to the top. But the good thing about each climb, as I always say, you get to ride downhill after the climb. So there's a chance for a power up at the end. Let's guess the power up. I'm going to guess Aero. Aero. You have a choice of Feather, Aero, XP or Draft. Let's see. Place your bets. Virtual money. BBC credits. Get your BBC credits out. Right, let's see. Aero. Oh, XP. 250. Yes, 250 points. So I think Zwift do have to start being extra generous with those 250 XP points. If you didn't know, that in the latest Zwift update, they have added some further updates to the game, some improvements to some of the bikes and the wheels. And you also have the option of unlocking a specialist customizable bike. All the details are too complicated to explain it all, but there are YouTube videos out there that will tell you all about it. But I always say the best place to go for information about Zwift, whether that be routes, the fastest bike, the lightest wheels, how long it takes you to go around, is Zwift Insider. So just search zwiftinsider.com, and they're like the gospel or the cycling or the Zwift Bible on all things Zwift. So this is the second half of this ride. We've done most of the hard work. 109 meters of elevation down. Only about another 20 or so left, so relatively flat all the way to the end of these last 12 kilometers. 12 down, 12 to go. If you have any questions about what all this is, any questions about me, my training, what got me into cycling, you know, tips and tricks, pop them in the chat. I'm just riding now, and I'm not really riding at any particular set pace that I want to go at. I'm just kind of riding at what feels naturally good. This is like a nice zone 2. We have a short sprint section coming up. If I was looking for the sprint, here's where I would go at this marker. Even if you're not sprinting, you do get another power up at the end of it. I'm going to guess Aero again. Aero. Come on, Aero. If it's Aero, I'm gonna give everyone 1 million BBC points You can spend them on the biggest thing you can imagine, as long as it only ever lives in your head. Come on, Aero for the win. We're going for the Aero Powerup. Here we go. Yes! Aero. Okay, I confess I'm cheating. I did this ride on Monday and it was XP, then Aero. As a Powerup. Doesn't matter though, I'm still giving anyone who's watching 1 million BBC points. You're welcome. You really are. Okay, I've done enough of a pull. I'm gonna drop back a bit. Let some of these riders take the lead instead. But we're working in a nice bunch here. So I've showed you some drafting tips, how to get in. I think another thing to do, especially if you're riding comfortably, you're not really racing, you're just a nice group ride. When you get moments like this, which can be rare, it's probably useful to use it just to do a little self-recce. Check your surroundings, check yourself. Is your position good? Are you gripping the handlebars too much? Can you loosen your grip? Are you locked out or stiff? Can you like just relax a bit? You don't want to be gripping the handlebars for life. You want to be holding it for balance, but you should be able to move your hands off. Just kind of rested on top. You might also want to try a few positions. So right now, I am on the hoods on the top. The curvy bit at the bottom is called the drops. And that's where you want to get into your aero position. Top down, getting that wind resistance. And you really want to not just get down, you want to really drop your shoulders, tuck your elbows in, so you're making yourself as narrow as possible. Now obviously that doesn't matter when you're indoors. The wind is just coming from a fan, but outdoors it can make all the difference. Sort of like here, if you're just chilling, going for long distance, not really going at speed, that's fine, but all that wind is hitting you. You're tucked down, you're more aerodynamic, even more so in the drops. And don't worry about not being able to reach your brakes. You've got your finger reach, which can still get you to your brakes. So if I'm going fast downhill, I tend to have my two fingers just covering the brakes in the same way I would do if I was on my motorbike, but just to be able to react quickly if I need to. But we're indoors, so that doesn't matter. Just like that woman next to me on the bike, drinking a coffee. She's activated the coffee break, which you can do from the companion app. And that's just a chance to have a bit of a breather, or maybe grab a drink, grab a towel, grab a toilet break while in a group ride, but without having to worry about losing your position and having to start again. So after a certain amount of time after the start of each race, you will have the icon will come up on your companion app, and you can press that, and depending on how long you've rode for and how long the ride is, it will give you an allocated time. It might be 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. And once you've used that, you'll have to wait a certain amount of time again until you're able to use it for a second time. Now, it is really useful. Let's say you've run out of water, you want to refresh, activate it. But you can also use it strategically. If you want to ride and you're coming up to a hill, I've seen people activate it just for the hill bit, so we don't have to suffer. Now, it's debatable as to whether that's ethical or not, but who cares? I'm just riding for fun. It's not like it's a race or there are actual trophies or prize money to be won. I think the best thing you can win from cycling is the enjoyment and the knowledge that you're getting fitter and it's healthier. Anyway, that's how I roll on 2 wheels. Coming up to the last 9 kilometers, the Zwift Big Spin 2025. I'm Ken Dizzle, the Black Cyclist, cycling all the way through 25 and beyond. Join me 5 days a week as I cycle live from the Wattage Cottage, checking out different Zwift routes, group ride events, giving you demos about how to use the Zwift app as I ride the bike, tips on cycling, some get you started information, how to get started in Zwift and setup. And of course, I'm taking questions all through the stream as I ride live through 2025. Let's go! Do you know what? Thank you all for watching. If I wasn't doing this stream, I probably wouldn't have the motivation. It can be so easy to just not do it, finish work and jump on the couch or the sofa, put the TV on, grab your gaming console, put a film on. You know what? You can do both. You could technically play a game while playing Zwift. You can definitely watch a movie or a TV program. I choose to stream and chat, have a little social. You can learn a little bit about me, get an insight into the Black British Cyclist. Why do I call myself the BBC? Well, as soon as you ask the question, I'll explain it for you. But it's all true. But I fire off this Powerup just for the sake of it. So the Aero Powerup is probably one of the most popular Powerups to use when you're in a race. So you want to use it, time it well as you're coming up to the sprint, to the finish line. Knowing that it lasts 15 seconds, the best strategy, let me demonstrate. I'm just going to drop back a bit. Here's how to use the Aero Powerup if you was in a sprint finish. So here I am now. You don't really want to do it right at the start. So you're starting from the middle of the pack or the back of the pack. You're getting the draft benefit. You're currently burning less power, using less watts than the other riders. So then what you want to do, as you time it, you're obviously also watching to see that no one else goes before you do. When you've got it timed just right, fire off your aero, start your wind up, start going through. You're going to benefit from that draft benefit all the way through, and hopefully before they realise you've gone for the sprint, you've already got the jump on them. Your aero is executing, you're coming up to the line, you've maximised on the slipstream, and you take your win. Now, in a perfect world, it works exactly like that. But the beauty of Zwift is it's unpredictable, and you never know what the other riders are going to do. And that's part of the fun, the excitement of bike racing. Not just about who's the most powerful, who's the strongest. There's a lot of tactics involved. Now, I'm no expert. Most of what I know, I've learned from friends, other Zwifters, watching videos. NorCal Cycling, awesome channel. You don't already follow them, check them out. He does really good race breakdowns. I'm not even a racer, but I have learned so much just from watching his race teardowns. There's another guy called Jonathan Crane. He's another, I'm going to call him a pro cyclist. He definitely races for a team. So I've learned lots from him in terms of setup, Zwifting. In fact, he's got a really good video where he does a bit of an overview over different cycling apps as an alternative to Zwift. or free ones as well. So check him out, Jonathan Crane. I'll try to remember to put a link to his video above. And of course, Shane Miller, GP Llama. He's probably my #1 source, has been for the last 4 years, for Zwift news, tech, updates, and he's an awesome guy as well. Really friendly. So, 6 kilometers. It's so easy. Such an easy ride when you just ride in zone 2. No pressure whatsoever. Riding for fun. My heart rate is below 140. So an indicator as to how hard you're working. You can get that as a better measure with a heart rate monitor. And as you get more proficient in cycling, you'll just know by feel whether this ride was easier than the day before. All good. Ah, come on. 5.5 kilometers to go, people. Yeah, this is a really good group. Do some more ride-ons. So it's time for a summary of today's ride. It's the Douce, France. 24 kilometers and just 135 meters of elevation. One small to medium-sized climb, about 2/3 of the way in, not counting the mini aqueduct climb. Some slow rollers and a pretty steady ride with no gradients higher than 4% as you go through the French countryside. Lots of open roads, some downhill after each climb in order to give it a chance for recovery. And if you look at the green map just above, you can see the green section. I'm where the orange marker is, so you can see the route is done. Just the one peak, just a little before halfway. Everything else is relatively flat. So again, if you're looking for a ride that's interesting enough without being too much hard work, something that's going to take you between 30 minutes and an hour to complete, this is one of the ones you want to tick and add to your favourites. I should really catch this group, shouldn't I? Let me just catch this group. Another chance to see how to get back onto the draft there. 4 seconds ahead, so I'm going to have to work a little bit harder on this one. I'm going to be at higher power for longer. I'm going to need to go past that first rider. The group are in front of Rodriguez. I'll give them a ride on as I pass. And remembering to ease off as you get nearer. There we go. I'm going to go past this one just in case the front group pulls ahead. A bigger group will travel faster than a solo rider. There we go, there's the countdown. 3 meters, 2 meters, and your best position is somewhere in the middle, just to give you a bit of advance warning in case you start to slip off the edge. There you go, that was a perfect example then. Nicely done. Nicely done. As we go into the last 2 miles, 3.5 kilometers. Then we get to do the spin wheel. Fingers crossed we will get the BMX on this attempt. Right, the last 3 kilometers, today's ride. It's been nice actually, I think. I might be spot on for the stress point score. Said it might be about 30, 35 I think. Currently on 28, 41.5 minutes down. We should finish absolutely under 50 minutes. Maybe about 46, 47 minutes. Maybe a bit less. Total calories burnt. Obviously I started the Garmin a little bit late, but it's currently showing them on 380 calories. A decent workout for a midweek ride. And while you're waiting for me to reach the end of this group ride and spin the wheel, maybe it's time for you to consider hitting that subscribe button, liking the video if you've enjoyed any part of it. If you haven't, well, thanks for staying and watching for this long, but tell me about it in the comments. Let me know, what did you not like, what did you like, what do you want to see or hear more of? Are there any particular demos you want to see? Any routes? And you'll get featured with a response in my next stream, which if I don't do a stream on Saturday, I'll be back on Monday around about 5 o'clock, live at 5, maybe this time on a BMX. We will find out in just over a mile. Come on, I want it. I want it. Oh, that's right, man. Oh, 28 degrees in the wattage cottage. Hot enough to run a BMX, you think? So, thanks for watching. At the end of this video, I always add chapter headings. You don't need to watch the whole video, you can jump to a particular segment which will reflect what the chat was about. Today we've spoken about getting started in Zwift, some options for low, mid and premium range turbo trainers, a little bit of information about how each one works, additional you need to get started, different types of bolts you can use on those turbo trainers and with Zwift. We've also been able to look at drafting, some of the Powerups, and I've given you 2 demos on how to jump onto the back of the pack when you've fallen off, which I'm off right now, but because I've got my eyes on that BMX, the BMX. Spin wheel coming up in 1 kilometer. My arms are turned to the side, it just looks funny. Okay, we're coming up. If I was racing, this is where I'd be thinking about at what point I was going to go for the sprint. Not at 700 metres out. I've been known to go early at 500. It's a gamble. I don't have a 500 metre sprint in me, but sometimes you can catch people not expecting it. There's the BMX. Let me get it. If I stick by the BMX, maybe Zwift will think he needs a BMX. So anywhere between here is where I'm thinking about going for the sprint. I think a lot of people go at about 200 metres. So definitely by here I would have gone 250 metres, give it all out, empty the tank. There's no point taking it home. The race will be over. Okay, here we go. Come on. Let me go to BMX. So I'm going to keep doing the big spin until I get it. Failure is not an option. Here you go, 46 minutes, average 131 watts. Now let's get the spin wheel. If I get it on this is the music that played when I won the Milestone wheels. Do you see that? That was on purpose. You see how it slowed down? It slowed down just for it. Okay, I'm gonna take that as being I'm one off. The next ride is where it will happen. Right, big spin headphones, big spin cap, big spin granny visor, big spin socks. I haven't even got the jersey. Doesn't matter, I want the BMX. Right, okay, I have really enjoyed today's ride. Thank you for joining and sharing my fun, bikes, banter and cycling, talking all things Zwift, cycling as I do it. I'm Ken Douce of the Black Cyclist. This is what I do. You can join me Mondays and Thursdays, live at 5. You can also get me on the weekends, sometimes. And if I'm not here, you'll find me on Twitch. And if you're lucky to live in the West Midlands area, you might even see me out and about, live on the bike. But for now, thanks for watching.